Hey everybody, Crypto Commando here. Just had some lunch, so full. Anyways, last video I promised that I would go over my bot, and so the way I look at my bot is my bots in general. There's a couple of them. One that I'm going to show you I really like. I like both of them, but in this one I'm ready to show you the results. The other one I tinker with a lot because it's a little bit more difficult to use. So the way I look at bots, the way I look at it is I can sit here in front of a computer screen and I can trade for 18 hours a day, but I screw up. I get emotional, I get connected, I get attached to positions, I get frustrated when things don't go up, when things go down. I needed a way to take the emotion out of it. And so the way I look at bots is the fact that it creates a passive form of income. You can still I still manually trade. I still, when I get on, I want to play with money. So the first thing that I really want to share with you and help you understand is residual passive income and exponential growth. So just to give you guys an idea here, the exponential growth calculator. Now when I started out with a half of an Ethereum, basically $300 is where we started at back in January to play with, and I manually traded and doubled up a couple times, and then over the next 3 months we put in another $2,000 Canadian worth of fiat currency, bought Ethereum and Bitcoin, and put it in the bot and put it in the trading account so I could play with it and try to make it grow. And something that I know that I really came to understand is you could only make money when you're awake. So I got to the point where I was not sleeping. I was up 24 to 22 hours a day. I'd sleep for 2 hours, then I'd get back up because I was worried about my trading account. Got a little obsessed. So when the first bot came along, I was super excited. I paid for the license. I got it running. I got the settings all done up the way the guy that I bought it through recommended, and then I started playing with it. And it got a little frustrating because I got myself into some pretty deep bags, and I was so obsessed with bags at that point that I didn't really understand that all you need to do is turn your balance. If you've got a 30-year balance that's churning, that's turning, and you can manage to churn that third of a balance, 3, 4, and half of your balance, 5, 4, 3 times a day, however the number is, as long as you're in a position where you're making 1%, you're winning. The reason I say 1% is if we look at the exponential growth calculator, don't mind Charlie Shrem, he's apparently thinks he's a good looking dude. Brilliant man, a little bit funny looking, but brilliant guy. Not that I'm pretty either, let's be honest. So let's say half an Ethereum, right? At 1% a day over 365 days, that's 18.9 Ethereum. Okay, now let's just look at that from this perspective. Right now, an Ethereum costs about $600, $620 right now today. It's come back down since yesterday and since the day before. So, excuse me. So if you think about that, really Ethereum, it's fair to say that Ethereum shouldn't be any lower than $1,000. Come the end of the year, I'd imagine it'll be close to $2,000. So 365 days from now, with the price of Ethereum rising, you're looking at anywhere from 20 to 40 grand. Oh, by the way, I want to make sure this is out there right up front. I'm not an investment advisor, not licensed in any way, shape, or form. This is all opinion. This is my personal experience. These are the numbers that I've attained. So full disclosure, I just want to put that out there right now because we need to start making that very apparent as we get along through this process. So yeah, exponential growth is a huge deal. So what we did is we started looking at bots. We looked for a bot that would churn. That's why I call this strategy the butter churn. But we looked for a bot that would on its face just turn your balance regularly. So with the settings that we provided for it. So anyways, and so we went with Binance because obviously it had the least expensive fees, and it's the largest exchange for volume traded in a day. So the great thing about Binance, as you see right here, this is their trading fees. It's 0.1% for makers and takers, right? If you use their Binance coin, they cut it in half, so it's 0.05%. So it's absolutely phenomenal as far as the costs associated, because if you take Bittrex or Bitfinex or Poloniex or any of the other ones, you're based on a volume scale, the amount of trading you do, and it starts at 0.25%. So you're paying 0.25% of your return to the exchange for the right to trade on their exchange. So that's why we went with Binance. The two reasons: the least expensive and the largest for volume. So anyways, let's get to the hopper real quick. Let's see here. I gotta figure out how to get back to the main page so I can show you some stuff. Oh heavens! Terms of service. That's gotta take us back there. Home, right there. Okay, perfect. So, anyways, like I said, we decided to go with Poloniex. With Binance, and then we decided to go with Crypto Hopper because this was the very beginning of them trading with Binance when we did it a few months ago. So this is all really new for them, but it's also subscription based. So you start out with a 1 month free trial, right? And it's the bunny. Well, it ends up being the bunny, but you start with a free trial. So if you keep the bunny, it's $19 a month. If you go to the hare, which I'm currently using, it goes to $49 per month, and if you go to the kangaroo, which I used last month, it's $99. So the reason I scaled back, the reason I went up, is because back on March the 18th, the market went bonkers, and my trades went through the roof. So we ended up with 800 and some sales that day, and then it was 730 the next day, and so what I found was that it was trading so rapidly I couldn't keep positions. I couldn't be in positions. So I quickly upgraded to the kangaroo, and it was buying faster because the way the hare works is it only buys every 10 minutes. Or sorry, every 5-minute intervals. That's the bunny buys in 10-minute intervals. The hare buys in 5-minute intervals. The kangaroo buys in 2-minute intervals. So we went up to the kangaroo. Now that the market had continued to descend after that point, that we were down to the bottom end of the bear, the fifth wave of the Elliott wave theory situation was where we were at, the last leg of that bear run, and so on the 19th of April, when I had to renew, I quickly jumped back to hare because I didn't have the kind of volume in trades that would be requiring a more rapid purchasing situation. So that's where we're at. So basically that's where that's at. Why we use the hare, but the hare is and the pricing is great that way. So on that, let's get right to the show. I'll just show you where we're at on this, and I'm just gonna walk you through it a little bit. So the dashboard. See, I still do some manual trading with this. I'll buy on my exchange and then I'll sync it. So right now we've got an ELF position that's got a 1 3/4 Ethereum sitting in it, and it's been 2 hours since I was just dollar cost averaging out positions. So I'm taking a large chunk and dropping on positions that are in the red to try and pull them out. And this one's coming out after 2 hours, so it's good. But just to go through this up here. Let's go to our stats first, so I can show you what our returns have been since we started using this hopper back on the 4th of March. We've made 4.17 Ethereum. So if you want to look, this number's wrong. There was an error when I was doing some manual buys through the system when it was really, really fast, and it registered a buy on the Crypto Hopper that wasn't on the exchange, a big one, like 2.5 Ethereum, 3 Ethereum, and so it it shows us with an investment of total investment of 11.5 Ethereum. It's not, our total investment of Ethereum is about 9.5 right now with our returns and the Ethereum that we bought. So we've basically doubled up in 2 months since the 4th. So we're going on 3 months, 2 months and 3 weeks. So that's pretty good. I can't complain about that. So, but it's that exponential growth factor we were talking about, right, with the exponential growth calculator. So, anyways, let's get back to the dashboard for a second. Or let's go trade history. I'll show you the trade history. So right now I'm playing with some new settings. I've gone to a trailing stop loss to see how that works. So what I'm going to show you with my numbers on my spreadsheet has been the old settings. And basically the way the old settings worked, and this is where I've just been playing with I started playing with it right here when I started selling some stuff out to try and get better profits. I bumped up my profit levels. So basically the way the butter churn works is you go in to back testing. On back testing, all the coins that you've selected in Crypto Hopper, they'll let you back test each coin based on the data that comes from that exchange. So what we did was we just put the coin in, whatever. We selected a length of time and we put 0.75. 0.75. Reason being is what I found in this market right now in the last 4 months, the coins travel in a 2% price range. So as they go up and they go down, they don't go down in straight lines, they don't go up in straight lines. It's always up, down, up, down, up, down, up, higher highs, lower lows. You understand. And so what we found was they travel in a between 2 and 2.5% price range. So barring pumps and barring fundamental news that creates demand for the coin, which drives the price up, but just as a natural occurrence, it travels up and down within a 2% price range. So by putting in 0.75 or 0.85, we were able to go ahead and back test with no stop loss, with nothing but a percentage and a candle length. And what we did in that situation was we would go through. Actually, let's do Storm. See what it says. Okay, we're going to back test Storm real quick. So start with 5%. We'll put in 0.85. This will just look for occurrences where according to your oh, wait a minute. I've got it on Bollinger Bands right now. I got to change that. So hold on a second, kids. Because it won't let me back test stuff if I'm on Bollinger Bands. I'll go back to TA. Multiple TA. So we'll save that. Go back to configurations. Back testing. Okay. So let's go with, again, let's say Storm, because I really enjoyed Storm the last few days. It's done some good things. So let's go start with 5, and we'll put in 0.85. And then we'll just hit Find Configuration. So that on the 5-minute candles, there were 74 opportunities for it to buy and sell at a profit. Your hold time on average was 2 hours. The maximum profit on any given moment was 2.34. So you're going to make a little bit more than 0.85. In fact, what we found is we were making about 1.1% return every time we had a trade. But that's on the 5 minutes. So then we go with 15. So those 98 trades, right? So that's significantly better, right? That's over that. That's basically over the last 3 days that it's had 98 trades. Now remember, you have 50 coins. If you have 50 coins and they each have 100 trade possibilities, that's a lot of buying your bot can do, right? And then you can go to the 30 minutes to see what your frequency is like. You also look at the duration. This is a 6-hour hold time, but you're looking at 6.9% profit of it possibility. Right, so that's on the 15-minute candle. So basically, you just go through and you find the one that has the most occurrences, like this 30-minute right here, 7 hours, but obviously it's over the last 10 days, right? So 195. So if you have to weigh it out, but the possible return is 15%. So it's significantly higher. Now I understand you're not going to get 15% because it goes up and goes down, goes up and down, back and forth. It's not going to give you, it's not going to trail it. And the settings are not set for trailing. They're set for taking that first 1% and walking away from the trade, and then it just buys back in. It's automated. You don't have to do anything, right? So the whole idea is for it to churn and turn over your balance 2-3 times a day, right? If it turns it over once, great. If it turns it over twice, great. It's all about making that 1%, okay? And on that, that's where we're going to go to these numbers here, right? Oh, and when you find the configuration that works best for that coin, you just deploy that configuration. And then you go through each of your 50 coins that you're working with and set individual configurations for each one so that you're chasing those profits, right? And then it's just 1%, and it'll just keep churning that. It'll just churn that balance. Here, I'll just show you real quick how much it churned the balance. So on the 11th, we flipped our balance because at that point we were only like 7% of an Ethereum. We flipped our balance 1.5 times. The 12th, we went to almost 3 times. So you look at it total, these are the percentages returns. Now this is our return in Canadian dollars, so on the price of Ethereum that day, right? So that changes as Ethereum goes up. These days will become worth more. They'll be worth more. So that's the percentage return. I mean, we had some really good days. 1.83, 1.6. I'm not looking to get 2, 3, 4% average day. I mean, when you get that, we've had a few days where that's happened. You know, especially those days in March, after it hit rock bottom and then it shot up on the 18th and the 19th. We made mad money that day, those 2 days. So that's the way that works. But so the Binance is the best because you can have a strategy like this where you're taking a really, really small profit and you're looking for the most return as quickly as possible. So if you can have a short turnaround time, like 3 hours, 2 hours for it to flip, that's fantastic. And our ELF dropped back down. I could have closed it out manually, and I probably should have. But anyways, it'll go back up. But folks, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was educational. If any of you have questions, if any of you want to know more about this strategy, if you want some support, you want some guidance, go ahead and hit me up on the Discord. I'm always on it. If I'm not, I'll make sure everybody knows that I've walked away from it. It's brand new. We don't have any moderators there. It's just me and one other person. It's just starting out. But if you can do me the solid of clicking subscribe and getting these videos on a regular basis, and supporting our referral links and everything, that'd help us grow and help us to help other people get into crypto that otherwise wouldn't be able to. Anyways, guys, have a great day, and I hope you enjoyed the video. We'll see you next time.